She has remembered where she is.
There you go. You were muted.
Hi, I'm still Guy. See, I turned the mute down on my board.
I just muted you physically. I'm sorry.
Yep, I had it under control.
I didn't.
Hi, I'm Guy.
Thank you for muting me. I did not have it under control.
Oh my god. All right. Welcome back to Star Trek. This is episode 3, right? 3 of 3?
Yeah, this is 3
story?
of 3. So tonight's the final act on this particular game. So we have all of the characters that are on board here. We have to my right this way. This way is Chelsea playing Dr. Lupine. This way is Brent playing Marcus. This is harder to do than I thought it was. This way is Hanare Hastings, and directly below us, here we go. That one's easier at least. is Commander Zolarina Jorath, and my co-GM over here is Joe, who's playing Minister Valise at this point, but he also plays other bits and pieces we've been going on for a while. Now, to recap the story, in Act 1, our heroes were dispatched because a beacon at the border of the Romulan neutral zone began moving very, very slowly, which was suspicious. The beacon also stopped transmitting, which was also suspicious. So the head of the starbase that we were in at the time dispatched 2 of the ships of our group, the Van Valkenburg and the Versatility, to investigate. Upon arrival, they found a ship that looked very much like, hang on, I can get it for you. Not realizing I was going to do this way. I will bring this up here, and we will come in here to season 9. We brought up a ship that looked, why does it start there? Like this. Really? This is the way you're going to be.
You going to share your screen anytime soon?
No.
Should I banter?
You should banter, because it came up
Watch
and then
me,
decided
nothing
not to.
is happening now.
Nothing is happening. There we go. So,
did it work?
Look,
it worked.
very much like this. Yeah, but whenever I did this, I originally shared the screen, and then it did it's not going to show it. And I'm like, oh, no, don't not show it. Anyway, ran into a ship that looks just like this. The ship involved here, once they got to it, they found out that it was going sublight. It was only going about 3% the speed of light, and was traveling along, and they made contact with the race, which was very friendly, open, outgoing, and the head of this was Minister Valise, who was this elderly, very Vulcanoid sort of person with the pointy ears and the arched eyebrows. Now, when they made contact with them, they spent most of Act 2 talking to them, but at the very end of Act 1, they found out that there were no men aboard, and B, one of the characters that was on there, the first officer, was pregnant. She was going to die, so of a birth-related pregnancy. So they beamed her back aboard, or they brought her back aboard the Van Valkenburg and delivered a baby boy. That was the end of Act 1. Now we're in Act 2. They've been over there sort of discussing everything with the crew members on the ship, and one of the things they have discovered is that there was a life form sensation of Ponfar, which is Vulcan puberty, which they can sense from a male somewhere in the ship. They don't know where. So they were about to kind of get to the end of this when one of the ships picked up a distortion consistent with a Romulan ship. And that's where Act 2 ended. We are now in Act 3. Does anybody else need any kind of refresher beyond that for this? Does that seem to cover everything?
We ended right as I was starting a conversation with Minister Valise.
Valise.
Sorry.
That's all right. It's totally fine. So you were about to have a conversation with her, but this was the end point of that episode or that act was right when they picked up a signal.
Mm-hmm.
So
Actually,
that's
I thought you
the
had
trigger.
a fairly significant conversation with her.
Nope. I didn't do a ton of role playing last session. That was the session before then. I mean, I did contribute, but it was the session before that had a lot of
Conversation.
talking.
Okay.
To be fair, I loved last session. You guys were totally on autopilot for me. As a GM, that was like the best game. I just sat here and watched you guys just go, and you guys were just firing on all cylinders. You guys were great.
It was so much fun. Yeah, it was great.
I mean, I didn't need to say, but like one thing here and one thing there. I got to play the one girl who was like leading you around the ship, and that was about it. That's all I had to do. It was wonderful.
Dr. Lupine was very fun to watch, and I also enjoyed Commander Zolarina trying to get into the clearly problematic part of the ship where there were clearly fucking bodies.
Oh, I know there's something down there. I just can't because it's all soldered shut.
It was great.
It's a thing. Okay. Is everybody else doing okay though? On the recap.
Yep.
Troy says he doesn't understand, but okay.
What has he failed to understand? What questions have you got, Troy? Ask them.
Oh, I wrote to him and said we've decided he was immature.
Oh.
And he was like, that doesn't make any sense out of context. I said, it doesn't matter. You're just loved. That's all. That's all you need to know.
You should tell him it makes perfect sense out of context.
Right.
It makes total sense if you were in green room with us prior to the show, but really it makes no. In fact, even if you were in green room, it is difficult to make sense of what that was all about. So it's all good. Yeah, to be fair. So cool. All right.
Oh, there's my character sheet with my picture. Okay. We're good.
That's a good point. I should bring up my character sheet.
Well, I had one of them up. I just didn't have the one with the fancy picture up. And Guy did all this work.
I know. I love my character.
We've got echo coming from somewhere. Does everybody have headphones?
I don't, but this microphone is extraordinarily... the reason I like this microphone is it's cardioid. It's very, very cardioid. It can't hear anything past about here.
It's not mine. And
my
my headphones are having issues, so I had to take them out.
Okay.
Tell me if the
now,
echo goes
so I
away.
think we're okay.
Did that solve it?
Yeah.
Is it back?
Yeah. There we go. All right, we're good.
Dustin's saying he doesn't hear an echo. He does say howdy. Hello.
Hi, Dustin.
Yes, I am. I don't know if he's saying everybody is so fancy tonight or just that I'm in uniform, but I'm in uniform. I even have correct stripes, which is rare.
Hey, I put on lipstick, all right? I'm like,
there you go.
That's what I wore to my wedding, all right? Like, I'm formal.
I didn't wear this
blue,
to my wedding.
So I'm in the right color.
I thought about it. So I officiated over my best friend's wedding and everything like that. And so awesome. I wore my communicator to it because that seemed appropriate. And he was like, I wouldn't have expected any less. You know? I'm like, I'm sorry, but I would like to wear my communicator. And he's like, I thought that was a given. I'm like, sweet. But I wore my best communicator. There's that. I have a number of them.
You have one of the Bluetooth ones, right?
No, those didn't work that well. The Bluetooth ones, they're not as good. They're not as good as they should be. The better ones, the handheld communicator from the Wand Company, that one's the better one. And I don't have it because it's $170. So that my price range always is. And of course, now it's out of print. So it's just going to get more expensive from now on. And I'm never going to be able to get it. But that's okay. There will be another reissue somewhere along the line. Maybe they'll do a Discovery one. I like the Discovery communicators. Those are cool. They have The Discovery Communicator, for those of you who are wondering, has one callback to an interesting thing. If you look at the pattern on the communicator grid on the top, that is the exact same pattern as the communicators from Star Trek II. So,
And this has been Facts with Guy.
Right? Hey, I have a SETI eel, and I'm not afraid to use it.
Oh my god.
You're so proud of that. That's so funny. It's not.
This is my favorite thing.
When you were like, "Isn't it cute?" I was like, "Yeah," and in my head, I was like, "I mean,
No, it's
for
not.
a sea slug, it's fine, I guess. Sure, yeah."
Have you
live your best
seen
life,
Star Trek
whatever.
2?
I don't think so.
Okay, then you don't even know.
That's a reference. Then you are not getting the full effect of.
I mean,
I've only
start getting
seen
the
the
full
con
experience.
one. So whatever the con one is, that's the one
That's Star
I've
Trek
seen.
2. The
I haven't
concept.
seen any of the movies, like any of them.
Yeah,
so.
this is a mold off of the creature that was in the sand, that was crawling along in the sand. This is a mold of that actual puppet. So this is an exact mold of that puppet, and that's the one that he pulled the babies out of. Yeah.
Facts with Guy.
Trekkies are Trekkies, man. We will always be Trekkies to the
Hell
bitter
yeah.
end. Okay. Any questions before we get started? Any questions about trivia too? Because I clearly am willing to go into that.
I
What
mean, we could
was
spend the
Data-
rest of the time asking which episode is Flaw and just having you list them.
What was the name of the third episode where Data went into the to the hologram deck?
Elementary Dear Data.
That can't be right.
What?
I have to look.
I mean,
have
that's
to-
if you count Encounter at Farpoint as the first episode.
Jesus Christ, Guy. I mean,
On with the game. Let Hastings have her damn conversation.
I just no, I need to know now because I literally just was like, I wonder. Oh my God, he's right. What the hell is wrong with you? I mean,
Like
if
I
you
said,
need a list, I've got
tomorrow-
one compiled. I'll just email it to you. Just know that it's like 60 pages long and it's not in alphabetical order right now, okay?
I don't need the list. I don't want the list.
tomorrow
I
I may not be able to drive because that information of how to drive has been excised because we've hit 779 episodes of Star Trek at this point in time. So it's entirely plausible that boop, gone.
And
just-
Guy is the sort of person who knows that we've hit 779 episodes and not 776.
That's if you count the animated series, which I do. They canonized that with Lower Decks, so it's all good. And Picard.
You're awesome.
All right. Well, I'll think of something else later that is more obscure. All right. Are you
It's all
ready,
good.
Joe?
Can we get to the game? We'll get to the game. I'm feeling kind of self-conscious all of a sudden.
Okay.
Maybe
So
not that self-conscious. I don't know. I may only really have one claim to fame, so you know. The fact that I can pull.
If they ever have another Star Trek trivia night, we're going.
I got second place in Colorado once on trivia, and it only really tripped up because my knowledge of the Xindi arc in Enterprise really was not that good.
what episode did Data get his cat?
Spot shows up in season. She's like, well, okay.
Come on, man. You're killing me. You're killing me. I mean,
Hey,
I think that's
Ashley Judd
awesome.
was in
I
that
think it's
episode,
great.
too.
I just
Data's Day. Ashley Judd was in that episode.
We could totally just have a whole show of this sometime.
someday.
Anyway, let's get to
Anyway,
Let's get to
So
the game.
I'm sorry, Minister. I might have misheard your question. Were you were asking how many ships were in the area?
Yes. How many ships do you guys have?
Well, right now we only have 50 within the 10 parsecs, acorns, cubes, nah,
Cubes.
whatever.
Since it in real life it has not been like 2 months since you said that. I'm that's probably okay. You will remember that they said units, and
we
'cause I don't
only
remember.
have 50 ships in unit in the most 3 units.
You have 50 ships within 3 units? That seems like quite a lot. How many people are on these ships?
Hundreds on some of them.
Well, I suppose that would make sense to maintain your population.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of our ships are actually, cloaked.
Your ships
know-
are cloaked.
Do you know? Oh, do you know about that?
No, what is a cloak?
It's a cape that you put on ships.
Okay. And this is for decorative purposes?
Yes.
I see. Well, that's very interesting. It seems like a lot of resources to decorate a large ship with hundreds of people on it.
What? Excuse me. Well, not when you have. You saw when we were there how we were able to just ask a computer to make food and drink for us. We can also ask them to make cloaks big enough to cover a ship that holds hundreds of people. There are bigger ones for that.
Okay. And this is very strange to me.
I'm just waiting for whatever you're going to have me roll for this guy.
I was about to say you're getting into like the serious BS level. I'm trying to
I was expecting the minister to say, "Why, yes, indeed," because I am super suspicious of these fucking cloaked ships. So I was trying to be sneaky and seem like maybe we were super intimidating while also trying to get them to admit they had cloaking. And instead, now we're talking about decorating ships. Okay. That's where we're at. All right, guy.
That's fair.
I'm a diplomat. I do what I have to do to get things done. Okay. That's what I do. Diplomats lie all the time. We're great at it.
Fair.
We do have some info we kind of need to get from her.
Yeah, I was going to say, are you heading for something, or are you just going to sit here and go in circles with Elise?
Because I guess I should inform you in character, we might be running out of time.
No, you did already at the end of last episode. It came through my ear speaker, which
Okay,
is why I was
informing
like,
you now. We might be.
Oh, that's right. We've got inbound Romulans.
yeah, but the thing is, we don't know if they're inbound Romulans or if they're the 2 other ships that went with them that are cloaked, because it's not necessarily modern cloaking. In fact, last episode we established that they had to use a similar way of finding a cloaked ship. So I think it might be the ancient cloaked ones.
I missed something. I didn't know there were 2 more ships. What 2 more ships?
There were any other ships for them?
Yes, they did. They said that when they left, the 3 ships left. Well, we've only seen 1 ship, which means the 2 other ships either got destroyed because space, or they are capable of cloaking technology. Those are the only explanations.
No, there's lots of explanations. One, can we establish with them, since you're talking to them right now, whether those other ships left in the same direction or if they went 3,000 units in other directions?
That would be so
2,
weird though, because this is our perfect planet, right? Like that doesn't make sense to me. But also with this older technology, would they even have cloaking? Would that be possible with all this old
they
tech?
wouldn't need cloaking to be invisible. They were invisible because they're way too slow for us to care.
Oh, so they just hide under the sensors, like nobody
They're
even
they're like an asteroid drifting.
Literally, the only reason we knew they were here was because they ran into our beacon, and we cared that our beacon was moving.
We couldn't see them at all until the beacon moved.
Okay.
Well, Minister, if you would like, I can actually ask them to make a special cloak for your ship. It will take a few weeks to come in, but I'm happy to do that for you.
I'm not sure what purpose it would serve. I'm honored by your offer, but somewhat confused.
Just like your garden has many useful but also clearly bred to be beautiful plants, sometimes having a cloak on a ship inspires beauty.
I see. Well, I never thought about the exterior of the ship being beautiful because we never look at it.
That's fair. We see other ships all the time, and so we're used to having to look at other ships, and so that is something we think about a little bit more. But your ship is quite beautiful, even without a cloak, I must say.
You see other ships often?
Of course.
Space is so large, and even with only 50 ships within 2 units, which seems like quite a lot, that's a lot of distance to travel to see other ships often.
We all travel along the same path, so we're bound to pass each other sometimes, going back and forth.
Well, I suppose you would occasionally.
Yeah.
So you have a set path that you follow and you just go back and forth.
Of course.
Well, I guess that would make sense. I'm still a little bit confused how you maintain your populations with only a few hundred people, because that's not enough genetic diversity.
A few hundred people on each of the 50 ships. You would be surprised at how diverse the genetics are.
Well, how often do you meet other ships?
Every 5 years.
Every 5 years.
Yes.
I see. Well, I suppose that could work. It just seems it must take an incredible amount of scheduling.
It does, but I mean, as you said, we have to be very careful because we don't want our genetic pools to get too diluted. So we are very, very careful with how we travel.
It's very interesting. And what do you travel for?
We look at some nearby moons and we mine them for resources. There's also a planet way up the other way that we mine for resources as well. And then we do some trading with the peoples who live on them.
I see. It's a very long-term commercial enterprise. It must be.
It is. It's kind of like people just choose to do it for a living. Some people love being out in space so much that they just want to do a route, because it is a long route on a ship for their entire lives because they think it's beautiful.
It's very odd to buy something and not receive it within your lifetime. Have your offspring finally receive what their ancestors bought. Must be a very difficult way to do business.
Not if you've been doing it that way for hundreds of years.
Well, I suppose you would have to.
Think about it. Think of it as an investment. Anyway, I think our culture is fascinating too. I am still equally as interested in yours. Would you mind telling me, you said you left your planet with 3 ships. I think that's so cool, but I only see 1 ship. Do you know what happened to the other 2?
No, we left our planet alone. There were others who left the planet around the same time.
I see. I misunderstood then when I heard you or some insert person who talked about it last episode here.
Some of them were very violent.
Some of the ships that left were very violent?
Yes, some of the groups of people that left were very violent.
Well, I'm glad that you were able to get away from them then. That's good.
It is one of the most important parts of our history, is being away from the violent members of our species.
So I'm interested in how procreation works with you guys, because I've been telling you all about our genetics, and it is fascinating only being able to find a new partner every 5 years. But I'm actually kind of interested in yours as well, because you have beautiful women across your ship, and it seems like you have a very peaceful culture. But women cannot make children with each other, as far as we know, within your species.
Well, we we raise our children in either pairs or triads, so that people can help. When someone has to go to work, there's someone to watch the child. So we form partnerships to form households so that we can help raise our daughters together.
I think that's beautiful. I think that that's a wonderful way to have a family unit. However, that does not explain how the children started to exist, right? Like, that's just fascinating to me. I think that you guys must have evolved a really incredible way to procreate, considering there are no men.
Well, yes, that's we have a supply of material from which we can seed a pregnancy.
It must be so hard to maintain genetic diversity using a source like that.
Well, we had a large supply when we left.
Oh, I see. Thousands of years ago.
But it renews itself from time to time.
That's amazing. I didn't think that was possible. There are things about your science or your society's science that we have not achieved yet in our society. That's incredible.
That seems strange to me. What we do doesn't require any high technology. It's a rather simple thing.
Would you mind sharing? Not the story?
Would you like to see the facility?
I would love to. I'm fascinated in science and in culture.
Well, I can arrange for DOS to show you our procreation facility.
Yes, thank you. I would be fascinated. Would you like to go? Are you going to go with us and tell me more about your? I know that your history is spoken because you guys your guys' computer resets a lot. So I would love to hear more about your shared history as we go.
Sure, I can go with you. That's not a problem. It's a bit of a walk to the procreation facility, but I can take you down there. And I'm not entirely sure that DOS will even be available at the moment. She may be busy.
I'm totally okay with you just continuing on with this, Joe.
Okay.
You're having fun at this point in time. I'm okay with this. So maybe DOS isn't available.
Okay.
I noticed that was I'll pitch this back to Guy if he wants. I'm like,
yes,
you're doing great.
All right, I'll keep going.
Can I try to meet them wherever they're going?
You gotta let me. Did you voice that to me in a headphone?
Can I try to meet you wherever you're going?
Would you mind if one of our scientists came along too? She also is very interested in genetics, and I think this would be a remarkable experience for her.
That wouldn't be a problem. We can meet her in the landing bay.
Excellent.
I'm actually already in the ship in that other area.
Oh, you're in the other area. Whatever. We meet somewhere.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So Valise takes you, and it's quite a distance. As the ship just corkscrews, and you travel along that corkscrew. But you eventually reach what is essentially it looks like a medical facility, a doctor's office. And like I said before, you're looking at medical technology consistent with like the late 21st century of Earth.
Uh-huh.
But essentially, okay. Valise takes you into this. There's actually one or two women floating around there. Some are on-duty medical people, and some are not floating. Yeah. There's a patient or two getting checked up or exams or whatever, because this is the prenatal care center and insemination center. And so Valise guides you in and says, well, this is where we take care of pregnancies and inseminate the mothers, And so we gain our supply of seed, and then it is inserted through, and she has what is essentially a turkey baster kind of, artificial insemination process, which is then used to insert the seed into the mother. And then she gives you off some random statistics. X percentage of time this generates a pregnancy. We've worked on some methods to increase the likelihood that the seed in the egg will take and actually get a viable pregnancy. She gives you a long kind of speech about how they make sure that this achieves the desired pregnancy as opposed to just the random chance of did it work.
So for the source seed, is that actively harvested, or do you have a supply that's been kept for the last 700 years?
It's harvested periodically.
So you have a source somewhere.
Oh yes, you would have to.
Could you elaborate on that, perhaps?
Well, what would you like to know?
Where are you hiding the men? Not really. Don't say that.
I like the ears.
It's in one of my D&D campaigns. Whenever we're breaking out and we're not actually in character, we do this so that everyone knows.
Oh,
That's
I'm
actually really
just
cool.
doing this.
That's perfect. I do this for mind reading. But I do like the,
I
where are
like
your
that.
men?
I'm
Where
gonna
they
give
at?
a furtive look
you hide
to
them?
Henry Hastings. Like I can't. Like you have to talk them into this.
So I'm still very interested. I understand how insemination works. It's something we've also had for a long time. I'm actually more interested in what you mean when you say you're able to harvest. Like, what does that look like? Is it something you've grown organically, or is there a living population? I mean, these are all just such intriguing questions because you've been, going through space for so long now. The fact that inbreeding isn't a problem, and it clearly isn't, is such an interesting and, unusual event that I would like to know more.
Oh, you're interested in how we harvest the seed.
Yeah, if you're willing. It's
Sure.
Your ship
Okay.
secrets are your own, but yeah.
I don't know that it's a secret for any reason. It didn't occur to me you would ask about that. Let me talk to one of my doctors and see if we're doing any harvesting today.
Yeah.
So she goes off and talks to one of the doctors and comes back a moment later and she says, we actually have a harvesting coming up shortly, and it's going to be in about 2 hours, and it'll be kind of far from here, so we're going to need to head that direction. But if you will follow me, I've been given the coordinates, and we'll meet the people there.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much.
And she starts off, and that big spiral ship takes a long time to travel through it.
I have a question. Am I still back on the bridge of my ship because I have to deal with incoming a-holes?
Well, you're not with us, so.
Yeah, but I should be with you.
Well, I was about to rate you on the communicator and be like, so I think we're gonna go find the men.
No, you fucking weren't. The diplomat says the fuck you are.
Well, but the thing is you can communicate, so I can relive your experiences. It's not difficult.
I'm not trying to hide it from you necessarily. I just know that I understand why you're upset, and I actually agree, but I'm a diplomat, and there are ways to handle this, and one of them isn't bringing an enraged telepath on a ship while you're trying to do a covert operation. That's not the way to do diplomacy. That's not how diplomacy works. I don't want to hide it from you. I just don't want you to be there when we find it. That's it. This isn't a secret. It's I don't need you to be with us right now. That's it.
I love that. I see a lot of chatter going on in here in this And I have not actually been watching this chatter. I've been watching the outside chatter.
We were just talking about where we should put them. Like, do we really make them part of the Federation? Do we and how to make a cloaking device? And Zolarina was being snippy and saying I don't think we have fabric that big. And I said, no, we'll just spray paint it. It'll be fine.
Nobody else will notice.
She's like, I don't think we have enough fabric to cover this ship. And Lupine's just like, we'll spray paint it. It's fine. Don't worry about it. We'll make it pretty.
Well, and then we were like, maybe we should find them a different colony than Bite.
Yeah, no, I think we're going to try and ship them to my parents' colony because I've already talked to one of the scientists and we're kind of friends. So I think if we can make that, it's an agricultural colony. They're very friendly. They're very loving. There are a lot of different species there.
How the heck are we actually going to get them rerouted there?
We're going to tow them. We're going to tow them. It's going to be fine.
So have you conveyed any of this to Hastings?
No.
Zolarina,
Not yet.
Mm-hmm.
I need you to do insight on science, please.
Okay. I need to roll a thing. That means I need to get some dice out.
I have my dice. I love my dice.
Roller. Okay. Insight and science. Insight 14. Well, one of them was a 1 and the other was a 7, and my goal was a 14. Do you need me to take a screen thingy for that?
Nope.
Okay.
I have faith that my players are, on the level.
I roll ones the rest of the night.
Right.
Oh, ones are actually good in this game. That's right.
I know.
That's why she said it.
Yeah.
So okay.
I was like, well, I totally botched that.
So okay, so here's the thing. You're noticing that there is some serious stress on this ship. On one of your scans, you're noticing that it may not survive being towed. In fact, you're noticing that one of the reasons why we're picking why you're sensing things is that there are malfunctions going on all over this ship. It's just hard to read them because of the hull. So sitting in there as part of your scans, you're noticing that this entire section is not running power. This section was running power like an hour ago and is not running power now. You've smelled the smell of burnt things every so often, burnt circuits and burnt. The ship isn't healthy, and you can tell that. And now, when Lupine's bringing up the concept of towing, you think that the front part, that big bell, will make it, but that might be it. The rest of it might fall apart.
As far as we can tell, nobody living on the bell.
Yeah, well, that's the city part, but that's not there's a lot of people living out in that spiral too.
Okay, that's the city, but that's not their life support either.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna relay that back to Marcus to get to Lupine because he'll understand the techie part of that. I mean, I realize Lupine's gone through medical school, but she hasn't gone through engineering or anything.
That's fair.
So yeah. Also, it gives you a job, Marcus. I don't actually remember what your character name is because you put your real name. Or is that your character name? Okay.
It is my character.
Sweet. I'm
really Brent. That's why he's saying I'm Brent.
That's right. You are Brent. I'm relaying it back to my assistant.
I did that in the very first part. The first time we did that, I kept calling him Marcus, even though I knew who he was. But I have name aphasia. And so I will see people and then I'll be like, George, your name is George. And then, no, my name's not George. I'm like, damn it. And then they're always like, well, you've known me since 1991. What's your problem?
See, I don't have name aphasia so much as I don't think of people by their names. So I'm like, you're Blue Hat.
Right.
And they're like, what? I'm like, I don't actually have any association with your name, but you're the guy who wore the blue hat last time.
So there's that.
There you go.
Okay.
Now you know. So yes, I will relay back the findings scientifically as we're walking, but this ship's falling apart and might not might not make it 700 years, and definitely might not survive the towing speeds necessary to get them somewhere else.
That's real bad. I'm trying to find Caldos.
I love how Guy just keeps throwing wrenches at us.
Right. I think the biggest thing is we've got how many ships in this now? So honestly, like we could put them on our ship and give them hospitality,
Mhm.
We could,
Right.
The man can carry him.
but
I'm
we'd have to decide whether we feel like that is something we could do based on their tech level.
Yeah. I'm from that super Scottish colony. Thank you, Joe. I'm glad you remembered where the hell I was from. I don't know where it is though.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is I'm trying to calculate
That's okay.
how far
No.
away it is.
Nobody knows where Space Scotland is.
Right. I come from the super Scottish Highlands. This is
But
great.
just so you know, if it's not Space Scotland, it's crap.
But they don't even make cars in Space Scotland.
They make space chairs.
Wow, they
make
call it the
space chairs. I
Scots
keep making
language. Why
space
not
chairs.
just call it Scots Gaelic? What the fuck? Oh, we need to talk to whoever edits this shit. There's a name for it.
Is this the same place that Dr.
Dr. Crusher goes to? That's Caldo.
Yes.
It's the second one.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
Keldon, yeah.
It doesn't tell me where it is. I can't
Kalos
figure out
2
where it
is
Memory
the second
Alpha is
planet in the
totally
Kalos
failing me.
system.
Is that a memory alpha or a memory beta thing?
Memory Alpha.
Caldos.
It's pretty. So
I sent you a Facebook message.
okay.
Yep. Okay, so Joe's correcting me on this one. That's right. We've had a rebuild on the van, so you actually cannot carry them in the shoulder pads.
What are shoulder pads?
The Van Valkenburg is what they call a Chandley class ship, and it's a saucer with these two large, like, for lack of a better word, shoulder pads. They're just these large structures on the back that then have the warp nacelles below. And that's the Chandley class ship. So originally we were carrying Marines up there, but we've had a refit since then. And Joe's reminding me that we've refit the van. And so now those shoulder pads have a completely different job. So those shoulder pads are designed for.
I found it. It's in the Zakdorn system.
It's in the
that's right.
Zakdorn system?
It's in the Zakdorn system. It's by Starbase 185.
Which means that that's near Encounter at Farpoint.
It's
We're in
near
Encounter at
Deep
Farpoint,
Space 6,
correct.
which is
That's-
2/3 of the way to Deep Space 9.
So that's really, really, really far away from here.
I
Yep.
mean,
No, not according to the maps we've been using. I mean, it's really far away for sublight travel, but for warp. Hold on, let me share my screen.
Yeah, the Zakdorn system should be near the triangle, isn't it?
I don't know. I posted.
No, it's not.
I figure we've got 2 hours of walking to have this discussion, so
I think that my planet is very lush, and like my colony is very welcoming and loving, and there are Scottish rules of hospitality, so they'd be very welcome there. Because there are no Campbells there. Just FYI, if you want a Scottish joke, there are no Campbells there.
No, but ghosts, you can get it on with it at any time.
Well,
the
at least
question
one.
really is, do you guys have enough land there that they'll be undisturbed?
I mean, it's still being developed, so it should be okay. It just kind of depends. They'll be out in the wilderness. That's the biggest thing. So.
Can you throw up my screen share on the screen?
Sorry. There you go.
Okay, so is my mouse? Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so we are right about here-ish, where they've contacted this ship.
I
You'll
can't
have
If
see
you
to
look for
wave
where
it
known
again.
space,
You'll need to
yeah,
wave
if
your
you-
mouse again.
right here-ish. If you look where it says known space,
Just
and
to
you
the left
basically
of
go to the left of that, that's roughly where we are.
that, right?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I need to make this bigger because I can't see any of that.
Yeah, I'm trying to make it bigger on my end too. I've got it big enough for everyone else to see. All right. We're just to the left of known space.
Yeah, we're roughly there-ish. And then
Okay.
these grid squares are 15 light years apiece, I think. Let me double check that. Maybe they're 20. These are 20 light year grid squares on this map. So just to the left of known space, that's where we are, right along the Romulan neutral zone.
That's Starbase 173.
This is
Yes.
Starbase 173, and we're just a little bit lower. I guess if up is north, a little bit south of 173.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Okay.
Starbase
Zakdorn,
173 was where we got dispatched from.
correct. Zakdorn is up here. If you follow the grid square, Starbase 173 is in a square.
Yeah.
At the left of Starbase 173, there's a grid line. Follow that up 1, 2, 3 into the fourth square, and then go further to the left,
Yep.
and
there's
that's where you'll find
Starbase
Zakdorn.
6. You'll see it right there. It's Zakdorn above.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's 20, 40, 60, probably 75 light years, 80 light years.
How long
Well-
would that take at warp?
That depends on what warp speed you go.
The fastest we could go.
Not very
Well-
long.
Okay, cool.
The problem is, theoretically, we're going to have to figure out a place to put all their stuff or their ship. So I don't know that we're going to be able to go at that many warp or any.
Well, I'm not talking about jerry rigging their ship to the back, but like it might be a team effort and we might grab more ships from the starbase, load all their shit, and then take them without the shell and leave the shell there to head to Bite, and let's see if it even makes it to Bite.
If you travel at Transwarp 5, you can do it in a month. At Transwarp 9, you can do it in 3 hours.
I think 5 would be good because if we could do it in a month, then we could get them, vaccinated, acclimatized, history. We could go even slower and make it an envoy mission. We just got to not look like sitting ducks.
Yeah, we have to convince them that they want to do this. Right now, they're on course to be at Bite in 700 years.
But
Remember,
their ship is falling apart.
but their ship is falling apart. I don't think they're going to make it 700 years. But right now, they're on course to make it to Bite, which is a whole lot closer in 700 years. And we want to take them to more than 3,000 years out.
Not Bite. Anywhere but Bite. And
No,
Robinson's
I agree. I'm just letting you know, Hastings, this is what we're trying to deal with. So you might have to convince them of some stuff.
I've already got a game plan.
But let's go find their men first and decide if it's even worth it.
Gotta go find their boys. Find out what that
Maybe they're a whole bunch of men killers and we don't even want to bother with them.
Where do you get your seeds? It's like you're a doctor. Yes, an immature
I've had
doctor.
thoughts. I already have a plan. I have a
Beautiful.
plan. You've told me about the ship, right? You communicated that to me.
I did. I think you probably, since we're like in 2 hours of walking while you're having like side conversations with Minister Valise, we're probably doing a whole bunch of chatter in your earpiece that involves like, hey, so yeah, the ship's falling apart.
How are we
It's real
keeping?
bad
How are we keeping Minister Valise from hearing this?
because we've got earpieces in.
Because we have, yeah.
I think you guys are sub-vocalizing too.
I presumed that we
Although-
have,
I
The-
would be very careful. They're Vulcanoid, and the Vulcans have very good hearing.
am I correct or incorrect that SMS technology type stuff does or doesn't exist?
I mean, you texting to each other?
I figured I was texting to Lupine,
You're
yeah.
like walking down the hallway.
It's
I mean,
not a
that's
thing that
great.
anybody does on screen, but I can't imagine that they don't know how to do it if they have to.
Right. I presumed that all the texting that I was doing was totally texting.
That or it could have just been relayed through someone else through the communications.
You
too.
can just ping
Okay.
that straight to my dang brain.
Oh,
Okay.
are we still? I didn't know we were in that close of connection in your brain to be able to do it across subspace.
I mean, I've had a lot of practice with that idiot.
Mhm.
That one.
Well, Yeah, you petted a lot with him, but not necessarily with
Yeah.
me.
But I got practice, so I just got to figure it out.
Okay, fine. Then, we communicated in a way.
All right, I will send a message then as all this information comes in saying, okay, we'll see what's coming up, but I have a plan. Roughly.
And
Hopefully.
it's a good one.
There's a plan.
It can't fail twice.
There's a plan to find
You would
Stan.
say that, but as a diplomat, I can tell you that yes, it can.
Did you get anyone pregnant? You're better than the other two
Yes.
diplomats.
You're better than any of the diplomats I've had so far on this ship. If I have to deliver another goddamn child, I'm going to lose my mind.
That's not true. We had a diplomat for like 1 month at the very beginning in season 1 that didn't get anybody pregnant or cause any problems.
Totally fair. But
She was promptly transferred off the ship.
I was going to say she was transferred.
So here's the things. Now you know what you have to hold up to. It's like what standard you have to hold up to.
Apparently, you have to get pregnant in order to hold your job in this job. Who knew?
No,
you don't have. She doesn't have to get pregnant. She has to get someone else pregnant.
I'm
Oh, that's
captain
right.
of this ship
You have to
now.
get somebody
There will
else
be
pregnant.
no children on this ship.
It's 50-50.
Hold on.
The child that you just delivered.
I'm going to just interject and help everyone here by saying that Hastings is 100 million% asexual and is not interested in fucking anybody or being in a relationship with anybody. She's good. She's
We're
fine.
good.
We weren't actually expecting you to do this. We were just letting you know that's the
That was the
precedent that's been
expectation,
set.
apparently.
Just setting the expectation now. She does not care.
But you see, you're presuming that you have to be involved. It could also be that by action you managed to get somebody else pregnant, which had nothing to do with you specifically, which could be occurring right now as you head for the insemination chamber. So
I mean, to be
Freaking
fair,
diplomat hit a Klingon with a chair.
like I said, there was that.
That's how it starts.
Always starts with the Klingon getting hit by a
Never
chair.
again.
It seems like every game that I've
Never
ever played
again.
always starts with the Klingon getting hit with a chair.
Anyway, as we meander down the halls of not having sex, how are we going? How are things?
Just checking as we walk.
So you walk quite a distance, and she's taking you essentially to. She stops at a point where there's a couple of doctors standing there, and she stops at a point that is basically it appears to be not. It's just a corridor. You're in a corridor somewhere, and there's basically a doctor and some kind of a person with a bunch of tools.
Mhm.
And the person with the tools starts working on the wall along the edges of one of those big stained glass wall panels.
oh,
And
I'm
removes
observing that real closely.
yeah. And they're not whatever. Like, as long as you're not in the way of their actual tools, they're like, oh, sure, take a look. They don't care. Removes the stained glass wall panel, and behind there is a adult male Vulcanoid, just nude. And there's a couple of there's a tube going into the nose, and the little sticker things on his chest that have wires coming off and shit like that. She detaches what is essentially a Foley catheter, and then gives him a shot of something. They don't have hyposprays; it's a needle. And he had been completely still, and there's a very sense of cold coming out of the chamber. Little misty, cloudy, very cold air. So after a while, he moves a little bit, not quite so perfectly still. And then the doctor attaches a device to his genitals, and then they say, okay, now we wait. And, 10, 15 minutes passes. She detaches it, goes, okay, we have our seed. Reattaches, gives him another shot, and they start sealing up reattaches the Foley catheter, and they start sealing up the chamber.
We gotta save these boys.
Okay, I literally sent a text message saying I have a plan. All right?
I have a plan.
I have a plan. I need Dr.
It
Lupine
doesn't
to not
involve
do
phaser.
whatever you're thinking about doing right now. I need you to just not do that. I also need Commander Zolarina to not prevent them from shutting that.
No, I'm not preventing him from setting him. I am, however, taking temperature on what temperature that's being kept at.
Mm.
That makes sense. It's reasonable.
It's very cold.
It's very cold. Is
Let
it
me see if I can get you some
cryogenically
data,
cold,
but give me a
or
second.
is this like the place that they keep male cows when they're waiting to milk them?
Yeah, the temperature. So you can actually just readily do tricorder readings as soon as they open up the door.
Mhm.
Go on ahead and just for the benefit of the, make sure that we don't make a critical error, go reason and science for me.
Okay.
And really, I'm
two-
just looking for you not to hit, or not to fail those.
Okay, I got a 2 and a 9, and my target was 14.
You should be fine. So you take successful readings on it. The temperature is cryogenic but although it's not cryogenic when they were working on it, but you can tell that there was definitely cryogenics going around in that. So they've got some kind of hybrid sleep cryogenic system running in there, but it was cold.
Okay.
So they're keeping them on ice sometime.
So after that is shut, it's game time. I got this. Hopefully.
So I just want to confirm, like, what we watched them do was basically thaw out
male cows
and milk and male bull. Okay, like that was bull seating. Cool.
Exactly what we saw. Yep. Hastings on it. She saw it too. It's also horrified.
The funny thing is, Giraffe's not horrified, but that's largely because Giraffe doesn't have those many feelings.
Wow, that is fascinating, Minister. Thank you for sharing your science with us. I did notice something when we were walking this way, though. Would it be okay if you, myself, and Commander went to the side for a moment and had a brief conversation?
Of course.
So I'll wait until we're out of the hearing of other people on your ship.
And they're like, the technician goes off and the doctor that has the sample, heads off.
Perfect.
Okay. In the section of the ship we're in, is it noticeably, because Lupine's going to want to know, is it like noticeably more, how to put it? So we know the city is in the front. Is this kind of like the slums of the ship?
Yeah, you went quite a ways. It would be what you would construe as the slums. There aren't that many people out here. But this hallway had a job. It's going a place. So you're getting kind of the impression that all of these hallways have stained glass windows. All of them, everywhere.
I mean, you would need to. So
just so you know that this is not like this was a unique location on the ship. This was hallway number 47B on deck 22.
Right. I'm going to observe on the way back if there's more of these that we passed, now that I know what I'm looking for.
So I will, we're going to stand there for a moment. I was like, on the way there, we noticed on some distinct readings that this ship is having some critical problems at this point.
Well, it's very old and things do wear out, although we were equipped for the length of journey, the number of time units that we expect to travel. But things certainly don't work as well as they did for, say, my great-great-great-grandmother.
So your ship is not going to be able to make it to your chosen destination. I will be surprised if your ship lasts another 2-3 years.
200-300 years?
She looks very, very distressed
We're not
at that.
saying that, Commander.
I mean, things aren't working as well as they used to, but we had anticipated being able to reach our destination, and it should be able to hold together.
So the problem is some of the areas that have issues are going to within the next couple of years, crack and leave openings into space. And there's nothing you're going to be able to do about that. There's nothing we can do about that either. However, we're still trying to figure out how, but we think we can get your people to a new home that is fertile and abundant. And I think it is going to be beautiful if you're interested. However, there is one thing that you should know. Across the space, we have treaties that we have made as a group that we have to follow to be part of a society in order to reap the benefits of these planets we pass all the time, to do trade. Any place in the next 400 years that you would reach is under this treaty. So this isn't just around here, it's everywhere. And one of those things is, and while I understand why you would do this, and I'm not judging you, we can't have half of a species in containers being frozen, right? It's not that anybody wants you to have to interact with your males all the time. I don't particularly like men, to be honest, so I get it. But in order to survive this, before your ship breaks down, you're going to need to be willing to compromise on this one thing. And I know it's a big thing, but the men have to come off too. And we're going to have to put them wherever you populate so that your species can continue to populate, but you're not going to be able to put them back under again.
That can't work. They'll kill everybody. The males of our species are violent, and we left as a matter of survival. We can't wake them up. They will kill everyone.
So I think that we could have a ready solution for that for you while we think about it. I don't think that your population should have to live with men if they don't want to. And I think it's important that we respect the history that you have experienced with the men. And while we would be settling them in the same region, because, you know, we don't want your species to die out. That's like part of why we're doing this. We could keep them isolated away from you, and we could certainly keep them isolated and away from others.
But then how would we procreate?
I think that we would be able to harvest what you need with permission. It's most males of most species are able to do that just fine on their own. So I don't think that it will be a problem harvesting some of that material and bringing it to where you live.
But then the males would come to where we live, or they could.
No.
They would know where we are. They would be able
No.
to find us.
Nope.
To interject here, what had been your plan when you got to the planet for handling the men?
To continue as we have been. The
You were
planet
going
should have
to
ample
them
resources.
Refrigerated.
It's been promised to us. It is our destination and our destiny. And it will
So
have all the resources we need to continue.
Your ship will not make it to that destination.
I will have to discuss that with my engineers.
I think that I completely understand. And if you would like to have my commander present her findings, we have slightly more sensitive equipment than most people, than your people do. It's just something we've had to develop more quickly because of our space travel. So she can go over her findings and explain to you why this ship won't last more than 3 years.
Anybody here have historian or history? I've asked this before.
I do.
I have cultural studies.
But you have Giraffe, do you have history?
Yep.
Go on ahead and give me a roll. That's insight and science, please.
That's a 12. Oh, and that is a 1. Wow, these dice are going to be terrible for D&D.
As a doctor, like I would probably know a way that we could artificially,
Sorry,
we
you
have
said it was
DNA and RNA replicators anyway, right?
it was reason and what?
Insight and science.
Oh, it is insight and science again. Wait, no, that's what I was doing earlier. It's still
Mhm.
that? Okay.
In-
Well, then it's-
insight would be whether you think of it. Reason is whether you process it.
well, then it's a 12 and a 1. So the
The
1
one
is
counts as
definitely
two.
under. And so with the history, I didn't quite understand how that all works. But
It's all good.
yeah,
That's
it's
what
under
I'm
the
looking for.
14.
So, you can actually kind of like, of Surak, the Vulcan,
Mhm.
and the history of Vulcan, and this is sounding somewhat like they chose a different path than what the planet chose. Is what you're seeing as you're starting to kind of piece this together.
Right. And I was kind of piecing that together out of character too. Was
Okay,
that
good.
this seems
Then
to
you're
be
piecing
the
that you're piecing that
proto
together in
Vulcan.
character.
Okay. These are the proto Vulcans, and we don't know much about them from before then, but clearly this is what their stuff is. Do I know what it was he did to fix this to get them reasonable?
Yeah, it involves the thing called a Kirshara, but I'm waiting for what Joe's saying. Hang on. GM's communicating.
Sure.
We totally, yes. Yes, Sirach Vulcan brought logic, which stopped the wars. And that was the nature of this that caused all of that. Was they imposed logic on their people. But a group of them didn't want to do that. The ones who were beneath the Raptor's wing, they became the Romulans.
Okay.
So they became the emotional counterpart to the logical Vulcan.
Right.
But the Romulans also managed to somehow have both males and females in the same space.
Right.
Yeah.
So it seems exceedingly possible.
I just want to know, like, how did they even get them on the ship? If they were that dangerous, if they are like this scared of them, how did their ancestors even get them on the ship? These men.
And I'm not sure they would know that at this point. They don't have any recorded.
No, it's probably
history.
completely lost, and they could have been just as terrible as what these warring men were doing.
My presumption is they drugged a whole bunch of them and put them in cryo because they seem to be real content on that.
So, Minister Valise, one thing as we go, I mean, we have quite the walk to get the rest of your ministers. So, the other thing that I think we might be able to do for you, I can't promise this, I'm not a doctor, but we already have samples of your DNA, and we may be able to do what's called replication for for the product you use for impregnation. We could potentially be able to replicate that so you wouldn't have to interact with them again. But the other thing is planets are huge. We can isolate these people, these men, especially if they're as violent as you say they are, and they can be restricted to a zone. And it's very easy in these days to restrict people to a zone. It's not like a wooden fence. It's much more high tech than that. And I don't think it would be a problem. I know that it's difficult because clearly your peoples have suffered a very traumatic history, and I respect that. But we can find you a safe planet that separates you from the men of your species, but also allows you to continue to propagate and procreate.
I don't know about any of that. That all seems very, very strange.
We could walk you through it back on our ship if it's something you decide you want to talk about. I am not a doctor, so I would have one of our doctors walk you through it, but this isn't, we could explain this, and we couldn't just explain it, we can show you. We can, show you how that works. The other thing we're dealing with right now, though, is we're move all of your people as it is, because your ship is so damaged. We don't think it would survive being pulled. So we're trying to find a different way to transport you. So this is complicated. So I understand wanting to talk about it, but it's definitely an issue we need to address soon. It is up to you.
I need to discuss this with my engineers and my ministers. Perhaps we should meet again in 2 or 3 days.
Would you like to speak with the commander before you go, and she can give you her readings, or would you like her to talk to one of your engineers before we go back to ship?
Not at this time.
Okay. So that was my plan. So that's all I got. So we can go back to the ship.
Just as a side note, you do have a half Romulan aboard, or half Vulcan, not half Romulan, half Vulcan aboard. So there is at least a resource here.
Sure.
We have a half Vulcan, and we have a full Vulcan female who is from the later species. I mean, or at least the later evolution of their culture.
Well, except that you're going to have to convince them that that's the case, because I don't think Valise is aware of that. So
no, she isn't yet.
There's some things that are conceptually going to be difficult for Valise and her people.
Mm-hmm.
For example, when I talk to people about how big space is, people cannot comprehend the numbers. You cannot actually. It's so hard to understand that. Or when we talk about like $1 billion, right? It's so far out of our comprehension that, yeah, we've got a tag on it. You know, we got a little like marker, but you know, until somebody says something to the effect of, if you made $20,000 a day, it would still take you 150 years to make $1 million and 1,000 years to make $1 billion. And that's if you worked every day, even if you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then you get a concept of what we're talking about. Or if you say, if you got in your car and pressed the gas pedal and went as fast as your car could go at 200, let's say 200 miles an hour, it would still take you 6 weeks to get to the moon. You know, things like that.
Yeah.
You know, that's when you start to go, wow, you know, there's like no you're going to have to make some kind of gap comprehension to even get to Valise, because she doesn't understand planets are big. You say planets are big. She's thinking twice the size of the ship. She's never been on a planet.
Right.
I mean, one of the engineers like asked me what a horizon was like. You know what I mean? Like they just don't have any comprehension of our entire world or how.
Hold on, that doesn't works. Can they not see outside at all?
Well, they've never been to a planet.
Well, I understand, but I mean, if you're in space for hundreds of years, at some point you're probably going to pass a planet.
Nope.
Right? No?
Nope.
Oh, all right, fair enough.
They have not passed. Back to the space is big. That's like the first chapter of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The first line is space is big, really big, astonishingly big.
There is a lot. There is about as much nothing between the atoms in your body as there is between all of the embodiments of space.
Right. I mean, like, for example, back to you get in your car and you go 200 miles an hour and you drive and drive and drive. It would literally take you billions of years to get to the next star.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
You know, it's like you can't even.
And that's relatively speaking close.
Right.
All right. Well,
that's only 4 light years away.
As we walk, I will say, you know, as we walk, I will, as not a scientist, try to give some explanations as to size. It's like, I just realized that, you know, you've only been on this ship. A planet isn't a couple times bigger than this ship. It's, how big is the ship?
Huge.
It's still 2 kilometers long. That's still pretty big.
The smallest planets that you're probably heading towards would hold well more than our entire flotilla of 50 ships. Like,
would hold at least 1,000, if not 2,000 and 3,000 of your ships easily on the surface.
You see, I can't do it, but you see one eyebrow go up, and she says, well, that's all very interesting, but I'm going to need to discuss these things with my ministers and engineers.
I think you should discuss it with your ministers and engineers. I just want to give you a visual. We'll get off the ship. We'll meet in a couple days, but I wanted to give you kind of a picture that you could take with you into these meetings, because I know that this is all very foreign to you. This isn't something you've experienced. So I want you to be able to go in understanding what we're talking about when we say we can go to another planet and you and the males of your species never have to meet. I want you to have an idea of what that is. Imagine being 1,000 ships away from the men of your station, but still be able to get harvestable material from them within a couple days, because we're capable of doing that. We can transport the materials you need to continue growing your population. What?
I'm just saying Marcus should say that out loud when you've got a break.
I was just going to say that, or put it in your ear, maybe we should offer to take them to a nearby planet so they can see how big, or a reference that they can use to truly understand what you're talking about with a size of a planet and the zone.
That's
that
so
they
smart.
could.
Won't taking a couple of representatives through a very fast space to a nearby planet make them so sufficiently more advanced in understanding that they'll no longer be part of the culture they're trying to convince?
We're past that point. We're trying to make them separate from their breeding ground. We're done. We crossed that line a while ago. If we wanted to be in that line, we would have listened to Hastings last episode when she was like, I think we need to separate from this. But we kept going, so we're not going to worry about it anymore. That line, way back there. We're done. It's already
I like
happened.
the I told you so here.
Okay. I mean, I don't. It's not my. I mean, it is the Federation's set of rules, but they're not necessarily my rules that we're violating, so that's fine.
I will. Yeah, I'll explain that. And I was like, in a couple days, after you've spoken to your engineers and after you've spoken to your ministers, what I would like to do is take you, a couple other ministers, if an engineer wants to come, and we will show you a planet.
We don't have time to travel to another planet, and
Our ships go quite a bit faster than they look like they do, and quite a bit faster than we normally share with strangers. It will not take us long to show you another planet.
that doesn't make any sense.
Have you heard of videography equipment? I think it was a thing that existed in the 21st century.
You mean screens that show images?
Yeah. We have technology on our ship that essentially works like that, but would give you a much better idea.
We have technology on our ship that can create false images that are very convincing. How would that mean anything to me?
Because these would be real.
So I'm to just take your word for that?
You
No.
can bring a scientist along. In fact, I think you should.
Showing me a screen.
We don't
It could
have
be
to.
faked, and if your technology is different than ours, we might not be able to detect what's fake and what's true.
I don't have any intention of showing you a screen. That is certainly an option if you're curious, but we can physically take you quickly. And please don't ask me to explain the science. Not my area. I studied cultural anthropology in college. I don't know anything about this, but we can absolutely very rapidly take you to a planet. We can go down to the planet and you can see its size. And then we can bring you back. And it will not take that long. And you will, for now, because we're about to separate and you're going to go talk to your ministers and engineers, you're just going to have to trust me. Now, I've not done anything wrong to your people so far. I have been very respectful. We made sure that your woman who was pregnant survived. We didn't have to do that. And the reason we did it is because I want to see your species be successful. And part of that is making sure that you can get to a planet. Now, you don't have to, love me or think that I am 100% honest. I think that's reasonable. But I also would like you to at least know by now that I would not harm your population.
Okay, so Hastings, roll presence and command, please.
I has good die for that.
I think at this point we're overloading them to the point where they don't know what to do. And if we keep forcing things upon them that they're not ready for, it's going to break them instead of help them at this point. So I don't think we should take them to another planet, honestly, because it would literally blow their fucking minds and it would take their command staff off the ship, which
Dr.
they
Lupine?
have never done.
Dr. Lupine, do you want to save the men or not? Gambles must be made.
But I don't think this is the way to do that.
I rolled a 4. I mean, I understand, but it's also, you're not going to convince them to just
Give them the 3 days that they asked for and see
Yeah.
what the result is.
Give
We
them-
already to quote to Sarah, who isn't here, we already have the tactical advantage. We have so much tactical advantage. We could force this upon them if we need to, and it wouldn't even take us any effort. So
except
we
for
can
the
give them
Romulan
time.
warbird,
Yeah, but
Well,
they don't know about that. They don't
they don't know
even have
about
a
that.
concept of that
And-
other than their history. So, at this point, we just need to give them that 3 days and
Yeah.
come back and bring things to the table.
Okay, so you said command and presence, correct?
Yep.
So I rolled a 4 on one, and I rolled a 2 on the other.
You're
Okay.
fine.
Yeah, you're pressing too hard. She's starting to build a wall.
Is she? Okay, fine.
Yeah, you
I
can
will-
see that Valise is starting to build a wall.
Okay, well,
So
I'll shut up.
you've got experience in this as a diplomat.
Yeah.
There comes a point where you can see that they just, there's a wall and you can't get past it.
Yep.
And they're not going to listen to anything more, and they've decided you're a jerk. And so, cool.
We can give them time. We will deal with the Romulan warbird with whatever it needs to be dealt with, which might be ignore it, and it might be we have to go off and battle it.
Yeah.
And those are neither problems that this Stone Age culture needs to worry about because it wouldn't be fair.
Oh, yeah, we wouldn't tell them about the warbird. No. No, I was talking about we have to worry about the warbird, not them.
Right. And if we have to leave them to go deal with the warbird, we can come back in a year and they'll only be 30 feet from here.
That's fair. I don't disagree. Okay.
So she escorts you the long distance, seeming rather annoyed, back to the shuttle bay.
Well, we can see ourselves out. It's okay.
I will escort you.
Okay.
It would be inappropriate not to.
I was like, please just leave us alone so we can beam the heck out of
I was going to low-key be like, maybe we should beam back in front of him so that they were even more mortified.
No, we really shouldn't. We'll do that later. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. When and if your diplomacy thing didn't work, we can totally overwhelm them with technology. That's not even gonna take an effort.
It didn't even occur to Hastings, to be honest. I thought of it, but Hastings does not think like that. So she's like, must find path, assassinations, totally fine. She may have assassinated someone, but does never occurred to her to overwhelm a society with military.
Oh,
Not
we
a
don't
thing.
even have to use military.
Or
We could
any-
just force beam them off, and they'd have no choice. Like, I mean, we
There are no
have
shields on this ship. You could just target Valise and just beam her right off
We-
of there.
we have we have so much technology. We have walked in to a Bronze Age spear fight with guns. Like,
Who watches the Watcher?
I mean, we walked into a Bronze Age spear fight with guns mounted to drones. They have zero chance and zero understanding of what we're gonna do to them.
There's a TNG episode that's very similar to this. Who watches the Watcher?
Okay.
That's exactly what they did. They beamed the leader onto the Enterprise.
So
They waited until she was isolated and then beamed her up.
right.
And
I'm just
and
waiting for like Miss Release to walk away because I don't want to walk 2 hours back, but she's not gonna do it.
Right now she's annoyed with you, so she's gonna walk the entire way.
So it's pretty clear that we need to keep an eye on the male child that was just born, because we don't know exactly what happens to them. Do they go into cryo, or are they raised to a certain age and then, are they shunned? Like, what happens there?
The only evidence we have for we haven't had a male child in a long time is from the one lady who's about to have them. So it's exceedingly likely they have male childs 50% of the time, and they just never talk about it, because unless you're medical staff, why would you need to know?
Mhm.
Because it's their great, deep, dark secret-ish, sort of.
I mean, we just have to be careful. We need to be respectful, but honest with them, right? And that's how we've been this entire time.
I think we probably don't want to give this male child back, obviously.
Absolutely not. Like,
I
under
mean,
no
we've definitely
circumstances.
been honest. That's why all of the ships have cloaks.
And you totally missed the gut, because here's the problem. Like, Giraffe, not Zolarina, but Giraffe is a bit almost autistic in her understanding. So she's kind of like, we don't have enough fabric for that. Like, how are we gonna do that? You can't make that offer.
I just told her we'll spray paint it. It's fine.
Yeah,
Which
be great.
worked, which was
Be great.
great.
They don't
And then
know what it is. Like, just
You were like, you need to tell them that their ship's gonna fall apart in 3 years. I was like, no, it's actually more like 300. I can't. You can't just go telling them that. That's not fair. Which
And
is why I
This
had
is
to put in,
Commander
like,
Pabu. She'll be joining us on this mission today.
Yes,
Because she wanted to snuggle.
if I actually have to go convince them that their ship's gonna fall apart in 3 years, I have to kind of do a value challenge. That's actually challenge.
Alrighty, guys, back on the ship. You guys are in transit when this ship decloaks.
Great.
Yeah, it's a no from me.
How close or far away are they?
They are opposite the generation ship, about the same distance you are.
So they're really close by.
Yeah, they've been sitting in here for a while. It's an older bird, but it's still very deadly. It's not one that, I mean, it's from it's about as old as like the QSTA is. So it's one of the older models of Romulan ships. So you're being hailed.
I'll answer it.
Okay. It's a Romulan Centurion who is, he's got the eyebrows and yada, yada, yada. And he says, "Human ship, what are you doing in this area?"
We received a hit on one of our beacons and came to see what it was.
Why do you have a ship full of Romulans?
I have a ship full of 2 Romulans from maybe your time. There are other Romulans. Yes, they're part of the Federation.
Romulans are not part of the Federation. This ship is full of Romulans, and I assume that they are refugees. The trail that we've been tracking it from shows that it came from Romulan space.
Please hold. Marcus to the bridge. Marcus to the bridge. Get your butt up here. It's your time to shine, honey.
Dang it. All right.
This is how we're going to play this. We're going to play that. How old is Marcus?
30.
Cool. We're cousins.
Give me a second. I can actually tell you. 30 something.
Oh, so you're a youngin' by Romulan standards.
Yeah.
You're my cousin. We were raised on the same colony together.
But I'm not Romulan.
Shut up. You are now. I don't know if I can pull this off, but we're going to try it.
If it
I
looks
think
like
she's
a
telling me to
Romulan
just
and it's pointy ears like an elf, it's Romulan.
I'm going to pull this play to see if this works. If not, then I'm going to pull the Romulans up one by one and they can explain their situation.
Okay.
All righty. Hailing the Romulan ship.
Well,
Okay.
we might end up overwhelming these people with technology no matter what we do. And it might not be us who did it.
I should be able to like medically scan him and make him look different, right? Like not look different, but appear to be half Romulan, half human.
I am half Romulan, half human.
You are. So it works anyway. I'm sorry. I thought you were half Vulcan for some reason. That was dumb. Okay.
He's presenting that way.
I'm
presenting as half Vulcan.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. But I know the truth.
Although medically, it's very, very.
It's just that generation off.
Yeah.
Like,
they're not that far apart.
Cool. Let me hail that Romulan ship.
Okay. This is the Majid.
If things are as bad as you say they are, then what do you say to my half Romulan, half human cousin?
Are you saying that that's not a Vulcan?
Nope, that's a Romulan.
I believe you were lying to me.
Scan him. You have the technology. Do it.
He looks to the other person, off screen, because of course, we only had enough space to build the set this big, so there's one Romulan there. And he's obviously nodding to people off screen.
Well, making people sit in makeup for hours is unfair when you don't need them to.
It makes actors mad. He does show to be half human and half Romulan, but that's also not uncommon.
That's not uncommon.
What I want to know.
That's not uncommon. That's not uncommon.
What about the ship full of Romulans?
The ship full of Romulans is next to us. They are what hit our beacon. We're checking in on them to make sure they're all okay and safe.
Then we will take them back.
Back where?
To Romulan space.
On whose authority?
Ours, human.
I don't think they're going to react well to you.
They're Romulans.
Yeah, they're Romulans who don't like men. I wonder why.
What's the problem with men?
Well, let me just catch you up real quick. This ship is super old. In fact, these Romulans are from an older Romulan space where warring factions essentially made them leave their planet and vow to never touch men again. So this is a ship full of women who's under the care of the Federation at this time. I'm happy to let you speak with them, but they're probably not going to react well to you.
I feel like this is another one of your clever human lies.
Oh. Well, that's cool.
Just let one beam onto the ship. It'll be fine.
You realize, I'm not human. And you're being really racist right now.
It's irrelevant. You're all under the same
hang up
banner.
Hang up.
By all means, they should definitely try to hail the other Romulan ship that doesn't have any ability to see.
I freaking dare them to. So, So wait, I have seen this person, and I have mind powers. These mind powers have made men run before. But I
They
need
are,
to
however,
my
charging their weapons now and
Oh,
raising their shields.
Yep, raise those shields. I'm going to try and tell this Romulan that he is outmatched and he needs to run. I'm going to put the fear of God in this man. I'm going to make
Hey,
him
Joe,
feel
do you remember what our
like-
rolls were for that prior? Do you happen to remember what we were rolling on? Because
I
that's
don't remember.
presence security, I think.
I
That
don't
sounds,
think it was
that sounds
Doing
good to me.
security. I think it was presence and command, actually.
Presence command.
Yeah,
That's a fair argument too.
and my
Okay.
command's higher by 1. Let's see if the
We have a
dice
vote for
are
presence command.
merciful. I'm going to make this kid feel like he just pissed himself in 3rd grade class in the middle of a presentation and he's got to go. A 15 and a 1.
No. Well, the 1's good. What's the 15?
The 15 is 2 over.
2 over. Okay.
Mhm.
So you got 2 of 3. He's going to be bothered.
He's going to be bothered.
Well, I would call this extremely difficult.
Okay.
So I needed 3 successes out of that one.
Gotcha. Well, there's no way I can make 3 successes on 2 dice. So do you want me to roll 1 more?
You could add threat.
Yeah, you can add threat if you want.
We had a thing. We had one of the thingies that you can do if you roll a die and there's an extra thing.
well, if you get a 1, it's automatically an extra success. And if you get below a focus, I think it's an extra success. But I don't know that she has a focus in this.
No, we
No, she
had one of the,
means that we have momentum.
yeah. We have momentum, right?
Yeah, except that the momentums are by scene, and we're in a different scene. And
I'm sorry, you didn't let us use the momentum in the scene it was related to. So
Yeah, but that's how it
actually,
works.
we have the same amount of momentum because you didn't answer a question.
Okay,
No.
let me make a plea to the GM. I am a
Okay.
quick study, so I ignore difficulty with new tasks. I think I should be able to know how to read this guy and scare him further.
okay,
If you'll allow it.
Justify it.
yeah, I mean, going ahead and you're dealing with a race that does use telepathy.
I mean, I've got him on tilt probably because I
Yeah,
showed
you
him
got
something
him off
that he
balance.
didn't expect. He called me a human, did not realize I was a Beta Z. And now he's like, I'm hacking into his mind, and he probably kind of realizes it, but doesn't know why it's happening because he thought I was human.
Right. So, but you got to remember, Vulcans and Romulans are both telepaths.
Fair.
So you're dealing with a telepathic species,
Mm-hmm.
and he is extremely suspicious.
Cool.
So he is really on guard, and he's defending right now.
Gotcha. We do still have the other 2 ships with us, correct? Because we've got their crew.
Yeah, well, you've got the van and the versatility.
Okay.
So you do have, as
We-
Tassara
we
would say, you do have tactical superiority. The V60, which is this ship,
Mhm.
is not a new spring chicken either. She's old.
Okay.
But you
cool.
don't know anything about what her upgrades are.
Gotcha.
The
Hey,
truth
I'm
is,
gonna
we don't hear a
hail him
lot
then.
about the Romulans these days. They don't act a lot outside of it. In fact, right now, you guys kind of cornered the market on Romulan contact at this point. Between this one and the previous time, you've cornered the market on it. But it's all right. I mean, I'm willing to let you just keep trying to hack if you want.
Let me hail him again.
Okay. But now he's really suspicious, and you can tell, you can sense it. He's on guard. He
So are
doesn't
you
know-
gonna? Yeah, no. So are you gonna apologize for being a racist?
There's no need to apologize at this point in time. What are you doing over there, human?
I'm literally just trying to help this ship, and I'm not human. Why? Give me one reason why I shouldn't blow you into space with my 2 ships.
Because one of those ships is old.
So it's
That
armed with
Chandley
things that
class
you
ship
don't
is as
know
old
of.
as this ship. And the other thing is, you don't know how many Romulans are in this area.
I mean, one.
There may be more. We have cloaking devices.
One.
I'm not there. I was gonna say, can I roll a sense motive check? It's
Not a thing, but if you're listening in on the circuit,
You guys
then-
are probably all in the same circuit.
yeah, if you're all in there, you can run insight and security at this point in time to see if you can figure out what he's doing.
Insight and what?
Security.
I'm actually gonna say, Marcus,
Yes.
you may want to scan in kind of a wide range to see if we get any weird anomalies on. So the last time that I detected a Romulan ship entirely accidentally, this isn't a trustworthy way of doing it. We managed to do it because we were scanning for people out of phase variants, and there was a place where there was just none. So that's already equipped on the van, and if you just want to do that, that would be good.
And
Alright.
I will call that earning momentum because that was good. That was a good one. What's the other one? It's not momentum. What's the other one, Joe? We've got momentum and we've got
There's momentum, threat, and then determination is the one that's tied to values.
right. Which one's the one that we award when somebody thinks something well?
Momentum.
Okay. Yep. You got one momentum for that.
Unless she takes an action tied to a value.
No, she's just thinking it through and remembering well about what the plot of this particular game has always been. So I wanted to reward that because I think that's cool. Because I actually had forgotten about that, but she remembered it, and I had forgotten about it until you reminded me about like an hour ago. So I was like, "Oh, that's right." So even I didn't remember that. So
I rolled an 8 and a 9, and I had to get it was insight and security, right?
Yep.
I had to get it below a 15.
okay, so it's really difficult to read Romulans. Mostly every time you try to read them using your like traditional diplomatic skills, the Romulans always come across as shifty and weird and always doing something underhanded. However, strangely enough, this guy seems to have like pretty pure motives about something about this ship. There is definitely something going on here. But he also isn't telling the truth. There is something he's hiding from Chelsea's character.
I
from
will
Captain Lupine.
I will let Dr. Lupine know that I picked up on that.
Mm-hmm. Zolarina, do we have a way to completely incapacitate their ship and comms?
Well, I'm not on the ship right now.
I get that, but I'm hailing you.
I'm just saying, at this point, the question is it more important to beam us off and just not worry about the diplomatic problems? Or do you want us to continue walking back to the shuttle?
I thought we were already on the
You
shuttle.
guys are already on ships.
Oh, cool. We're already on the shuttle. Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, that'll
You know
make
what I
things
forgot?
easier.
I forgot to do computer red alert.
Sorry, what was the question, Lupine?
Do we have a way to disable their ship and comms?
We certainly have a way to scramble their comms. As far as the diplomatic ship goes, they don't have any comms to speak of that would be a problem.
No, I'm just talking about this Romulan.
We could scramble our comms so they'd have a hard time communicating with us. I don't know what that would do tactically.
That's
As
not what
far
I'm trying to
as-
accomplish. I don't
as
want
far
any
as-
more Romulans brought in here. Because something.
I was gonna say,
weird.
as far as disabling them, you probably want to actually ask the Makos.
Okay, so let me check in with the Makos then.
But yeah, Marcus, did you do that scan? 'Cause
Not yet. What do I need to roll for it?
So if you're scanning, what are you scanning for? Oh, you're
for
scanning for, you're sweeping.
Phase variance.
yeah,
So yeah, we need, for that one, you're going to need reason and science, but you can have the ship's sensors help. And I actually don't have the van as a character sheet. So Joe, could you help me out on that one, please?
I've got it somewhere.
Do you want me to just put it up on the screen, or do you want me to send it to you in Facebook?
No, you could put it up on the screen.
Okay, hold on a second.
because I know I bought the ability on one of the ships to have this thing. So
Come on.
All right.
Oh, really? Come on. There we go. Okay, it's in my share screen. I can scroll up and down if you need me to. But I think everything you need is visible.
There we go.
All
All right. So you need to roll for me. I'm going to need reason and science.
Okay.
And then you can roll a third die for the ship's sensors, which in this case is a 6 plus on that one science, which I think is a +0, right? Is that correct? So
Correct.
it's just a 6. So
And
you
I
gotta
will
get 6 or under on that die.
assist if you need me to, but
Okay. Well, let me roll for mine, reason and science first.
Mhm.
17 and 1, and I shooting for 14.
Okay.
And then
That's 2 successes. That's good.
yeah. And then it's 1d20, correct?
Right.
the ship
And just
is still
1d20
whatever.
out there for the ship.
All right, rolling for the ship. Oh, 19.
Ooh, 19. The van did not help you at all.
Yeah, it may have been a while since I calibrated those.
Yeah. So, yeah, as far as you can tell, there are no other. We're having a problem with my skills, apparently. As far as you can tell, there are no other distortions in the area.
Relay that to the captain.
I should let you know, Captain, that there's only about a 50% chance that that's true, but we're not detecting any.
What are we thinking?
So it increases the likelihood that they're bluffing about the number of other ships hiding out.
Cool. How are our shields and weapons? Are we prepped? Let's freaking
Yep.
prep that.
You're prepped
Yeah.
and ready to go.
I'll fire one at their comms.
You what?
I'm gonna fire one at their comms. Scramble their communications.
No, you're gonna fire a weapon disruptor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not to
So-
damage, just to scramble their comms. I'm like, you give me no other choice. You're not giving me any information about why I shouldn't disable your ship. You're threatening me for no apparent reason. You get to be quiet now. Until you can tell me the truth, you get to be quiet.
Okay. Then that's weapons and security on the van, which we'll bring back up. That's 7 plus 3. That's a 10 for that die. And then you're going to need to do daring and security on your side.
Well, it's 10 on the ship die and 14 on mine. Security and what?
It's going to be control and security. Or
Oh,
I'm sorry, daring and security, because this is a risky move.
all right. So my daring and security failed, but the ship didn't. I got a 14 on my die and a 10 on the ships.
Waiting to see what Joe is saying. Got a message for Joe from Joe.
Who has the super clicky keyboard? I think that's Joe, actually. Because he's echoing.
I had one too. I'm just trying to mute myself when I use the click lucky keyboard.
I had a coworker who had one of those, and I was just like,
I'm sorry. I
I
should
don't
have
know
muted.
why, but
I type loud.
I've always found that
Um,
sound really melodious. So
Hey, Joe, do you think
That is
that
pretty.
this is out of here? I'll do the out of game thing. Hey, Joe, do you think that you have alerted Chelsea of that information? Because we were supposed to inform her of that before the game.
Yes,
She wasn't
but
that
we
Are
did.
you
one.
serious? What would you supposed to be informing me about?
I did, but we did it in while we were briefing you.
Okay.
If you feel a reminder is appropriate, I have no problem.
I need a reminder. It's been like 2 weeks.
Okay.
should we
I've
all?
had a
I
lot
will
of
send you a
alcohol
PM.
since then.
I was
I
gonna
will
say, is
send
there
you a
info
Facebook message, Chelsea.
Okay.
we
thank
don't
you.
have here?
Yeah, but send it via PM.
I'm gonna send her on Facebook PM.
Fair.
Secret chat.
Okay, but first, I'm going to go on ahead and check to see what happened to our friend here. Ooh, that's good for you guys, bad for them. Okay. The shock hits the ship. This is called a winged defender, and it causes the ship's shields to sparkle, and the ship then immediately dodges behind the generation ship. So interposing the generation ship between the van and it. The versatility still has a shot because it can't hold behind both of the ships, but it's putting itself between the two. But then it engages a tractor beam and starts pulling on the generation ship.
No, it does not.
And you're gonna have to do something about that because it does.
I'm gonna use my own tractor beam with blackjack and hookers.
Okay.
Oh,
Giraffe?
God damn it. Why did you give me the shitty ship, Hashimoto? She's literally gonna ping him right now. Like, are you fucking kidding me right now?
It'll be fine.
No, it's
It'll be
not fine.
The funny thing is, this isn't the shitty ship for like a couple of things that they're not gonna expect. But I mean, ripping a hole in
Giraffe?
space right now might be a bad idea.
Zolarina Giraffe, I need
Uh-huh.
a insight and science, please.
Okay,
You do have momentum on your side.
should I use it?
No, but this is a target 2.
Okay,
I need 2 successes out of you.
insight and science is a 14, and I rolled an 11 and a 7.
Okay. If you two both pull on that ship, it's going to tear it apart. You're both playing tug of war with a Ming vase.
Right.
Do we have the space on this ship and the other one? Actually, hang on. Has anybody ever used ships like battering rams? Asking
Well,
for a friend.
I mean, I have an
Your
idea,
friend.
but it might be really morally like suspicious.
What kind of idea?
I mean, we could theoretically rip a hole in space-time and go put some of these ships there. We have the tech. We have it here.
How about we just do that with just the Romulan, this baby Romulan net?
I mean, I don't know how good I am at aiming it, but yeah.
So I have a proposal. As a diplomat who sees lots of problems with Starfleet coming up, why don't we just put them both in time and space? That's fine. It's fine.
I mean, we're gonna go put them in like Spock's universe. So I feel like if we did that, we should only do that with the Romulans, not
put them
the
in a
Proto Rom, not the Volskov.
Where can we put them?
Well, that's the only place we can jump to, as far as we know.
That's the only place I
okay.
know how to jump to without some amount of work.
I don't know how this works.
By the way,
so
you can't actually. By the way, Hastings, you can't actually know about this. I am going to threaten you with that if you talk about it to anyone else. I am serious.
Okay.
You do not.
I'm gonna lean in and be like, you do understand that I'm a diplomat, right?
I do understand that you're
the only one with Starfleet bullshit that you don't want spread around. The answer's no. So it's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm not gonna say anything.
All right. Okay. Let's focus on this because they are pulling that ship away. Let's use
More importantly, remember that the Romulans do not have the information you have. So
Yeah,
they
no.
don't realize that pulling on the ship is going to break
they're
it up.
gonna freak out.
We could diplomatically just try to tell the Romulans that, by the way, they're about to break the ship that they want so badly.
Didn't we break their comms?
We tried to.
I don't know if we succeeded.
I'm gonna ping them.
But I'll go get the little.
I'm just gonna ping them that like you are ripping that ship apart. You are going to kill these Romulans.
Right? And their response is, the deaths will be on you.
Oh, cool. Can I use the other ship as a battering ram, please?
No, that'll just hurt the ship. Can I go get the little 3-engine thingy that I have made?
My worry is that these guys are already proto babes, and exposing them to this tech, like if this little birdie gets away and
Oh no, I don't want to go put their ship, put the proto ship in other space. I want to go put the Romulan ship in other space.
Okay. All right. So you just want to flick this little warbird like a gnat into another galaxy.
I mean, I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm really willing to try.
Gotta admit, that's a solution.
I'm gonna ping him for a last warning. If you do not stop, I have to take drastic action, and I have to flip you into unknown space.
I don't know if that's going to make any sense to him.
Right. They'll be like, yeah, right, whatever. And we will
Think of a gnat
play
being
top
flicked.
ball with you.
Oh God, no! Let me figure out a better way to say that. Like,
That didn't make any sense.
think of a slingshot.
To space, timey-wimey.
I will slingshot your ass so far into space that you will never again know which way is up. Your planet will not be your own.
I'm going to flick you so far into space that you will be in another dimension. That is literally
Yeah.
How did you become a captain of a ship? These are really bad threats, human.
I'm not a human! You racist bastard! Oh God!
You speciesist.
There is a reason I didn't become a captain of a ship.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay,
Unknown space.
for you, this is a complicated thing. I'm doing 3 on this one at least. To do it. What I'm going to want though is
The
let's
biggest
go
thing is
for-
like proto babes aren't going to know what happened to the other ship. You know, they probably don't even know they're being teleported.
Right
I was
now,
gonna say,
they're
aren't even
having
going to be
bigger
able
problems.
to detect the other ship. They'll not know that there was a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, right now, their ship is seriously it's like an earthquake on board.
While I have the comm line open, because I'm trying to keep him distracted, can I poke into his brain real fast? Can I try again knocking on that door?
You can try again, but yeah, go on ahead, because your event would want to have to take place before
She
Zolrina's.
flings him into unknown space.
So
And it occurs to me
go on
there's a
ahead
really high
and poke
chance
that.
it could go bad and like also just pull us over there.
I will look at Zolrina though and be like, remember, girly, if I pass out, this is your ship. You know what to do. All right.
I mean, I should warn you, there's like a not zero chance that this might pull us into other space.
I mean, that's fine though. Because the other ship can stay here and watch. And you might want to give them instructions on what they should do. So what was it? Presence and command again?
Yep.
Oh, a 10 and a 16. Crappy rolls tonight. I mean,
right.
it's just not happening. And
It could
that's
be,
fine.
yeah. You're working it though. I mean, you know, but it's not that you aren't succeeding. It's that he is super, super paranoid right now, and it's making it a lot easier for him to just block you out
Okay.
because he's aware, he's cognitive, he's.
Do I have any negative side effects from that 16 because it's 3 over, or am I mostly okay?
You got a headache,
Okay, cool.
but it's
Nosebleeds
not
for
going to knock you
days.
out. If you'd gotten higher than that, probably like into the 18, 19, 20, yeah, you'd be on the ground.
All right, Zolrina, it's on you, honey.
All
Okay.
right. I'm
So
gonna go
for
ahead.
you, I want to get this is a daring and science.
Oh, daring? I don't have a lot of that.
I don't either.
Okay.
This is a seriously
13, I think. Yeah, 13, if I'm reading that correctly. Okay, so I have temporal physics and mechanics and theoretical and experimental physics. I think this falls in those focuses.
I think so too.
Because this is literally what Giraffe was built for.
Right? So, and you can use the momentum.
Oh, yes, I want to do that.
Oh,
So-
definitely. Just they're not.
A 10, a 14, which is above the thing, and a 9.
Okay.
And unfortunately, none of that was below 5, so I don't get the extra from the temporal.
That's all right. But if we use momentum on that, yeah, you already did because I gave you 3.
Right.
Okay. It's going to partially success.
Okay.
What does that mean?
I totally want to find out.
Okay. So here are how the events rolled out. You activate all of the equipment,
Mhm.
and there is a flash on the screen, and all of a sudden everybody has a moment of real bad disorientation. And when you all stabilize, the screen's out and you turn the screen on, the Null Cav ship is gone. And so is the versatility, but not the
Okay.
Warbird.
That's what I kind of thought. So I just, based on phase variance, because I'm going to check that first, which universe are we in?
You're both in the mirror universe.
That's what I thought happened. Okay, I'm all right with that.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody
And-
else is all right with that, but I'm all right with that.
I'm fine with that. I'm totally fine with that. So now we have to deal with the consequences.
And that's where we're going to wrap the story. And
Guys,
Joe is going to take over with us starting here.
I was going to say, Guy/Joe, sorry if I just pulled you into an unexpected way this story.
You know,
Actually,
it's interesting
just-
because Guy and I had a conversation about
Yep.
his episode and my episode.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, I'm not going to write anything because they're going to take a left turn and whatever I write's going to be out the window. So, what do you know?
But what's even better is he just texted me and said, "This is going to be an awesome juncture." So we were both prepping for it. We're ready. We're like, yes. And it actually worked perfectly because I was pretty much didn't know how that was going to play out. But the fact that you got 2 of the 3 successes means a partial success, which means it went perfect. It went exactly the way I wanted it to.
Didn't we have a momentum? Couldn't we have used a momentum?
We
She
did.
We did.
That gave her an extra die. So she rolled 3 die.
Didn't we have another momentum?
No, that was from a
Just the
different
one.
scene.
No, just 1.
I was just kidding, Guy.
No, but you can in this game, if you want to incur threat, you can ask to do that. So in other words, get momentum, but by giving me momentum.
The thing is, Giraffe didn't care how this went. It totally worked towards my goals so long as somebody ended up somewhere else.
Yep. And we only went 5 minutes over on Act 3. I'm actually pretty proud of myself. It's like, and that's the end of this episode. What's going to happen is you're going to leave poor Richard to clean up the mess on the versatility.
He's gonna be fine. He'll be used to it.
But the best part.
So we're all on the ship that just got flung into another dimension.
No, you're on the ship that's normally.
Oh,
you're on Richard's ship.
Well, we don't know. Where was she beamed to?
Was she beamed to our ship, Guy? What do you want to say?
You mean the Versatility's first officer?
Hastings is part of the Versatility crew. So did Hastings go to the Versatility, or did she go to the Van Valkenburg?
Everybody came back via shuttle to the van.
To the van.
Because that's where you guys were operating.
Cool.
Yeah. So anybody who, and except for Marcus, who apparently was stuck on the Versatility, that's all right. Marcus gets to be with Richard trying to figure out how to deal with a null cap.
You were on the Versatility? I thought you were on the van because you were using the van scanners.
Your microphone's muted.
It is?
No, it's not.
Sorry. I was on the van because I was using the van's hardware.
Cool. Good.
Yeah.
Everybody's over here.
Yeah, I have Raph listed as
everybody's on the van.
Everybody's on the van, and that means that we can just have a side adventure with Richard and see how he actually resolves this at some point offline. We don't even have to worry about it now.
On the bright side, we've now established that you're a unique agent because you didn't die.
You don't die. It's just harder. But the fact that the Van Valkenburg is unique helps you take people over.
Oh, okay. I thought they just disappeared when.
No, they don't disappear. It's just harder to do if they're not unique, or more accurately, it's harder to do if their counterpart is in that universe.
So, are we in another dimension?
Well, I mean, you don't feel any different yet. I mean, maybe, probably. Are you asking me?
Yeah, Hastings was like.
I'm sitting there. What happened?
Yep. Okay, so good. This actually worked out much better than I expected because I was afraid I'd break the party up and end up with Marcus stuck over on the Versatility, at which time he'd have to be trying to help Richard figure this out. But now this is solely Richard's problem. So
well, I guess if Nate decides to show up, it's his problem.
Yeah, but Nate, we can work with Nate offline too. Nate's an experienced role player as well, so
yeah,
I don't have any problem with that. We could just tell him what happened and he can get him up to speed.
I love that the Makos are going to be like, and all of the warbirds just disappeared.
Nice.
This is fun.
I like it. Okay, guys. That is all the time we're going to have for this game. Joe, when is our next game?
Stand by and let me check. Facebook will tell me. If you want to talk amongst yourselves for just a moment.
Yep.
And I will pull up the schedule, but I'll bet you it's 2 weeks from today.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can check my calendar.
From today.
We need to move that, actually, because next weekend is Thanksgiving, and the guys forgot about that. So we gotta shift. Can we shift to the 10th possibly? Another thing is I might not be able to make it for some of the games because I'm doing a lot of part-time jobs right now. I have 3 part-time jobs that just started, and it all hit at once. Like I cast my net wide, and finally something happened.
Well,
So
we were going to run to the end of the year for Dustin, but I've had a couple of conversations with Dustin now and found out that I think he's okay if we continue on to January a little bit. So if we really only have one game in December, that or whatever, that's not going to kill anybody.
okay,
Joe's side of this is three sessions, and then we're done with season 9.
gotcha. Okay,
And I'm not the best time manager, so 3 sessions might go longer.
It might go longer than that.
I'm cool with that.
I think the plan is our next planned session. I can't find the schedule, but I think it's supposed to be December 3rd.
Yeah, it was December
we can-
3rd. And then there's one
December
on
10th and probably be okay. Are you okay? Is everybody okay with moving it to December 10?
So would we then be keeping the one on December 16th, or would we be moving that to the 24th? That seems unlikely.
Yeah.
Why don't we
and-
just
and that
plan
might
on
be-
the 16th
that-
for now and then change it if we have to?
Yeah, my thought is that probably what we will do to be reasonable is have the December 24th, the December 10th game,
Mhm.
and then going ahead and skip into the next year.
December 10th, and then pick up on
we could
January
actually.
7th.
Yeah.
Do
that
we
sound
need to
good?
be live for this, or do we want to have this conversation?
Oh
after?
yeah, let's have this offline. Hang on, let me end this. Geek Tank. All right, so first of all, we need to talk about sponsors. I know it's the end of the broadcast. I'm super sorry about that, but Geek Tank is sponsored by Kieran Games, your local game store. Please go support them because it's about to get rough. It's about to be Christmas. Go get your little miniatures models. He's literally the sweetest man on this planet. Geekway Homes, if you're a geek, you need a home. If you're tired of your home in COVID and you need a new hovel or Goblin's Cave, I highly recommend you call them. You can shoot a flare into the sky at geekwayhomes.com. And finally, we're also sponsored by Shiny Garden. There's a lot of announcements I have coming up for Shiny Garden in particular. They're trying to figure out their schedule, I know. And hopefully we'll have that soon. So as soon as we know about things coming up for Shiny Garden, we will let you guys know. We can post it on the page. And just so you guys kind of have a heads up, like I said, my schedule is kind of crazy going into these holidays, and I've got a big project coming up in December and January. And so I'm maybe not going to be as frequent as usual. I'll definitely try and hop in when I can. But I got a lot going on, and it's just all caught up to me all at once. So I'll keep you guys posted on everything. You can always check here on the Rocky Mountain Geek Tank page. Thank you guys so much for joining us for the Star Trek game. Thank you, Guy, for writing this adventure, and thank you to all the players. This is freaking amazing. And thanks, Joe, for also giving me side background information that I totes forgot. Private chat is key. All right, guys. So
I've been Guy,
I've been Chelsea.
and this is Geek Tank.
Bye. Where's the outbound thing? I'm so professional at edit and post, but now. Oh God, that works so well. Bye, guys.